AM 1600 KIVA, ABQ.FM, rockoftalk.com. I'm Eddie Erg on the Rock of Talk. With me, Tego and Tracy Venturi kick off a new Super Saturday of programming. Tego and Tracy Venturi, the Venturi Real Estate Group from Keller Williams Realty. All you need to do, is pick up the phone and dial them directly, 448-8888. That's 448-8888, or welcomehomeabq.com. That's welcomehomeabq.com. Halfway through the year, that'll be next week. I can't wait for the Statomatic to get his stuff together so we can look at maybe the hottest real estate year on record, and it is hot out there as well. Tego, Tracy, good morning to you.
I can almost guarantee it, Eddie, that this will go down as the hottest, in many ways, real estate markets in Albuquerque ever. I mean, we're basically halfway there, right? And it's definitely shaping up that way in the number of sales, the prices, the franticness of it, the urgency that both buyers and sellers are feeling. It's definitely going to go down as a record year in just about every way we can think of. Yeah,
I can't wait to see how big of a record it is, and that's going to be very exciting. I know Tracy, she's smiling because she knows it as well. She's working with people, and as are your entire team. So I'm going to just let you guys just take it right here from the top. And Tego and Tracy Venturi, very best in real estate here in the Kiva. Take it away, guys.
Thank
Eddie.
you. Thanks. So we're always so happy to be here. We've been doing this, I think, we're going to be on 8 years soon
I think it's
radio shows.
Pretty close to that.
And, I think if we looked back, we haven't missed very many weeks. There's been a few weeks where he's done a replay or we haven't been able to do it.
Okay, wait, I got to look now. Now you say that, I got to look at our number. We're not quite to 400 shows, but we're creeping up on it pretty
So 52
close.
weeks a year to 400, that's a lot of shows. That's
Yeah.
a lot of years, right?
Yeah, we're
good.
No, and it's, we've talked about this before, and the people that listen know, it's like we love doing this show, love talking about what's going on in the real estate market, because real estate is really essential to everybody. It's super essential to our economy overall, Tracy. We've talked about that. It's super essential to people's lives, right? Just
it really
shelter,
is.
a place over your head. It's super important for people's net worth.
Really
We've
important
been talking
for
about that a lot lately,
Yeah.
right? We love digging into all these topics and sharing what we see and what we feel and what's going on out there.
Yeah, and we love helping people, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's really all about, is making other people's dreams come true. And it's interesting, Tego, that in this past week, it wasn't quite as hot maybe as last weekend or the end of last week, but it was hot. People were out. There were more homes coming on the market than we've seen for a while. It's obviously school is out and people are making moves that they've been waiting to do for a while. So there's more homes available for those home buyers that are out there waiting for the right home to come on the market. And what we know, our team, as well as others that we network with, are telling us that there are more homes kind of in those getting pictures, getting them ready to be on the market stages than we have had for a while.
So maybe a little bit of help or relief for home buyers.
Yeah. Well, we'll take what we can get, right?
The thing is, even if we get 1,000 more homes on the market tomorrow, 2,000 more homes on the market tomorrow, which isn't going to happen in the Albuquerque area, we're still going to be drastically short supply.
Right.
And right now we're hovering right around 900 to almost 1,000 active homes on the market in the just greater Albuquerque area. If you add in some of the outlying areas that are in our MLS, you'd pick up a few more than that. But if we're just looking at Metro Albuquerque and the bedroom communities of Albuquerque, we're somewhere around 900 as of Friday.
We were down to what's in the high sixes, weren't we?
We
7?
We hit 7 at one point. We're like I say, and what we've been seeing, Tracy, and we've been talking about this on the team, is Fridays is when we see a lot of homes come on the market. Generally because, sellers want to, hit it when people are looking. I'm going to do some statistics.
No, you're kidding.
There's a lot of stats.
Statomatic.
Yeah, there's a lot of stats out there that show, and it just makes perfect sense that, Fridays Yeah, maybe even Thursdays, but Fridays is a great day to put a home on the market. That's when people start thinking about it, start planning their weekend, planning open houses, planning, going out and viewing homes for the weekend.
So can I throw a wrench in that?
Well, I'm just telling you what the data says.
The data says. So we have a coming soon house that I wanted to talk to
okay.
everyone about.
Okay.
It's 689 Camino Vista Rio.
Okay.
And it's in Bosque Encantado, which is Bernalillo.
Why does that throw a wrench in it?
Bernalillo. It's on the west side of the river in that gated neighborhood off Sheriff's Posse, across the street from what used to be Jackalope and is now the Bosque Brewing.
Bosque Brewing, yeah.
Bosque Brewing. So it's down next to the river. Beautiful. The lots in there vary. There's one street that's quarter acre, one cul-de-sac that's half acre, and the rest are pretty much acres. This is on the acre lot. But what's interesting about it is it's in coming soon, going to be available over the weekend and Monday is the open house.
Oh, okay.
So this coming Monday from 4 to 7,
okay.
Gated neighborhood.
Yep.
Bosque Encantado, it will be open. And it's partly because we're seeing so many houses come on the market right on Thursday and Friday, and they're off the market by Sunday or Monday, that it's really hard for everybody to get to all of them. So we tried to move some around a little bit. So the open house for this one is on Monday.
I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I like how.
So it's listed at $799,500.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful home. And the sellers had just done some beautiful updates to it.
Mm-hmm.
So some new buyers going to get the benefit of all the work they've put into it. But if you haven't been down to Bosque Encantado, it's a gorgeous neighborhood next to the river with big cottonwood trees and, quick to everywhere. It's quick to one of my favorite places, the Hyatt Tamaya,
Exactly.
Hyatt Regency Tamaya.
It seems like you talk about the Hyatt
I do.
Tamaya every week
week
now. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
And last Friday night, right, we went out there and had dinner on the patio overlooking the Bosque, and it was just beautiful, setting, but just, everyone was happy to be there. The servers were great. The food was great.
Yeah.
They need more servers and cooks. If you know anybody that wants to go and be a server or a cook, they have 2 more restaurants they need to get open out there, but they need some staff. Yeah. So
we're hearing that everywhere in every business. And I think everybody listening here knows, that's what's going on. And I think most of us know the reason why, but we won't go into that.
So Bosque Encantado is right there off 550. Very quick. A lot of people choose Bernalillo and North Rio Rancho because it's quick to Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. It's quick to the freeway, especially, Bernalillo, getting on the freeway, you're pretty close. North Rio
if
Rancho.
Somebody hasn't driven through Bernalillo in a few years, there was a huge widening project.
It's going on.
Yeah, but it's
through Bernalillo, it's done.
Through Bernalillo, that's my point.
Once you get to about the river, though, it's for the people who live out there. It's not a fun time right now.
Well, and the intersection at 550 and 528 is being redone as well too, and make that a much smoother flowing intersection.
Give it another year, though. There's a lot left to do there, and it's causes problems for all those folks getting in and out. But it's good, and North Rio Rancho has been very in demand. We've seen a lot of demand for it. Whether it's somebody who works on base or downtown or in Santa Fe or Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. But anyway, just thought I'd mention it.
So Tracy, I want to talk about this kind of the underlying conversation that we're having in the real estate market right now, which is frustration for home buyers. It's tough out there for home buyers right now. There's very limited choices. There's, people are really wanting to get a home. They want to lock in these low interest rates.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of frustration. And so we're going to keep coming back to this right now because this is really the top of mind for everybody right now.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot on last week's show, and what we want to say this week again is just hang in there. There's a lot of reasons to hang in there and just work towards getting that home, right? The interest rates won't be this low forever, and locking in that rate, even if the price for the house seems a little higher, you're still locking in a really good monthly payment, right? Which isn't going to happen if you're a renter. Long-term benefits certainly outweigh the short-term, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, I think you look at it's tough. It's frustrating. Maybe have had to make multiple offers. Maybe you've had to make some concessions that you really weren't comfortable with making and being able to get a house. You paid more than you think you wanted to, or whatever it is. Look at the long game. Look at the long game.
And don't give up.
Yeah, locking in those again, the low interest rate and locking in your more than just the low interest rate. It's locking in your cost of housing. You've now locked it in. If you're making paying a mortgage, you've locked it in for a really long time. Versus if you're renting, it's going to escalate every year, right?
Right.
And so this is, there's just so much going on there. And of course, that's not even to mention the whole quality of life issues of owning a home versus renting.
Right. Which we've talked about, all the quality of life
I know
reasons.
It seems like we beat this to death, but I know there's a lot of fear out there around the market and, oh my gosh, home prices are up 25% in the last 2 years. And are we going to have a bubble? And, am I doing the right thing? And I get all that. Those are all fair questions in this current market condition because it is so frantic.
Right. Speaking of renting.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to talk about a program for people who are renting or want to be renters that want a path to home ownership. Basically, now there's lots of ways that we can use this program, but we have a program to help people who are maybe not ready to buy for some reason. They need to get their credit score up a bit, or they need to be in a career for a little bit longer than what they have been before they can get the loan that they want. Lots of reasons why they might need to rent a little bit before they buy. So this program is very much like a lease purchase.
Yeah. So let's talk about lease purchase. So lease purchase is something that's been around forever, where it's, okay, I'm going to lease it for this amount of time, and then at a future date, I'm going to purchase it, right?
Yeah. And typically that purchase price is predetermined at the time you put the lease together. Sometimes the amount of what you're paying monthly, the person who owns the home will give you like $100 credit for each month you've been a tenant there and kind of hold that and help you build your down payment. There's lots of ways they're done, but this is a little bit different than that.
Yeah, so this is a program that's available to really anybody that maybe they're not in a position to purchase right now for whatever reason. Could be credit, could be just not sure if they want to, commit long term. They want to rent. Maybe they want to try out the house for a little bit.
Or try out the neighborhood or part of town.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what this program is, this is a group that we have partnered with that allows the person to go pick out a home
that's for sale.
Right. And this group will buy the home as an investment, and they will turn around and they will rent it to them. But every year after that first year, the person that's renting the house, they get the option to continue to rent, or they get the option to purchase a home. The rent and the purchase price in the future is predetermined at the time that you go under contract in this. So it's a way for somebody. We get a lot of people, Tracy, that call us, and let me just set up the scenario because people may not understand. Somebody, they just moved here, right, and they've just been in the job for 6 months, or maybe their credits needs a little bit of work, and they know they can get it back, and they're working with a credit specialist like Michael, right, where they're getting it better, but it might take them a year to get it back to where it needs to be so they can get a good loan, right? So those are the scenarios where it may make sense, right?
There's a lot of scenarios where it may make sense, but yes. So the way, it's really cool because you can, as a renter, go out and look at houses that are for sale and choose the house you really want to be in and the one you want to make your roots in and eventually purchase. But if you don't purchase it, that's fine too. You can continue to be a renter in that house that you've selected in the neighborhood that you're interested in, right?
Tracy, when we first learned about this program and that we had it available here, we're like going, well, this is like a win-win-win, right? I mean, it's the company that's doing it's good for them. It's an investment, right? They're earning money on their money. That's what their job is, right? But it gives the tenant / potential purchaser the options in the future to either buy the home or just move on, right?
Right.
And it's a really, really great program. So if somebody's interested in learning more about this, and Aaron and Rose and Zach on our team who handle the phones and talk with people on the phone all day are very versed at this and can give you the information on how to learn more about it.
Call us, right? 448-8888. And we would be happy to talk more in depth about this program and how to apply. And there's just a few little criteria about what, you for your qualification. But one of the really cool things about this is that the company that does this, that buys the home and then puts together the lease and how much it would cost you to buy the house year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, they'd have, a tiny little bit of appreciation in there each year, assuming houses appreciate 3 to 4% a year. They buy the house that you pick out with cash. So they make it a very competitive, in today's environment, their chances of being able to buy the house that you want to buy eventually or that you want to live in are very high.
Yeah.
But speaking of cash offers, Tego, I was saying we talked about this on the show, but I want to bring it up again because it keeps coming up. People keep saying, "Oh, there's so many cash buyers and they're just beating us out." And oh my gosh, the cash buyers.
Not that narrative. Yeah, I know.
And
so we were hearing that, and of course, you know what I did, Tracy.
I know you went and did the stats, but we as a team have closed over 250 houses this year already, right? And we're going, well, let's look at it, and really. Yeah, there are some cash buyers out there, but that is not different, right? Do you have a stat for it?
Of course I do. And so what I looked at was, I looked at the first half of this year versus, well, actually it was the first, I say the first half, it was actually the first 5 months of 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, and then of course 2021, because I just went through
5 years
through May. Yep. So it was 5 years back. And I was trying to say, okay, of all the homes that sold in each one of those years during that specific period, how many of them closed were cash? How many were conventional loans? How many were FHA loans? How many were real estate contracts, which is, seller financing?
Owner finance.
And then how many of them were VA loans? And that's, those are the kind of the big, the 5 big buckets. And the thing that was shocking was that in 2021, that the number of cash buyers was actually less than 2017, 18, and 19. Now, last year, 2021, it was actually even lower, but this year it's bumped up a little bit. But it's interesting because we hear these narratives out there where, oh, all these cash buyers are just coming in and they're from California and they're buying all our homes and they're displacing this. It's like, no. Yes, there's some of that. And we've always seen that, right, Tracy? It didn't just happen since last year that people from other states are coming here and buying homes.
Right. And when we had our team meeting, we asked our team, there was about 20 some on the meeting, right? Where are people coming from? Are you seeing them coming from California? Is that the overwhelming? And it was like, everybody's like, that's just what people are saying. There's no facts behind that. Yeah. It's like, no, people are move up. They're from here. They're coming back here. They're from all over. They're moving from one house to another within the city. They're upsizing. They're downsizing.
And there's a lot of, household formation is what we call it, where we're, people that have maybe never been homeowners or, maybe two people coming together to start a home and be first-time purchaser. We are seeing a lot of first-time purchases, but most of those first-time purchases are people from here.
Right.
I mean, they're from here. They're not from elsewhere. So that was, anyway, that's a little myth busting there because
for the stats.
Yeah,
when people are throwing things around, I have my own Statomatic, so
I
get
heard
real
info.
info.
I heard a conversation from a real estate training class where people were just throwing data around and stats around. They had nothing to back it up. They were just saying stuff like, yeah, they're all coming from, where did you get that from? It's like, well, that's what I think. It's like, well, anyway.
Let's talk about home equity.
Yeah. Home equity. That really hit the radar this week and all the economists that I follow regarding real estate.
So let me just tell you. So we were meeting with a client last weekend, you and I, and talking about selling a house. And anything. And talking about where you can make money on your money, right? We were saying, well, you could put it in and buy a CD or a treasury or this or that and get, right now they were advertising on a credit union last week when we were meeting that if you wanted to put your money in for so many years, they were giving you extra and it was going to be 0.4% interest, right? Could you imagine if home equity was 0.4% interest? So when you think about wealth in building in real estate, this is where people build their wealth as a family for the most part.
Well, it's no doubt the number one wealth builder in the country, especially for the the middle to lower, class,
right.
People, because for the most part, people that are living paycheck to paycheck they don't have a 401k. They don't have another savings plan, But if you're paying on your mortgage every month, you're doing two things. One, you're paying down the principal every month. That's forced savings. You're also, the equity in the home is growing over the long term. Yes, we have ups and downs, and there's cycles, and there's going to be cycles, and there's always going to be cycles. I don't think we'll ever see a cycle like we saw from 2007 to 2010. I don't think we'll ever see a downturn like that again. There's too many safeguards in place now.
Well, you think about when COVID hit, or the stock market went down, but the value of my house didn't, right?
Well, values of homes have gone crazy in the last year, and so on the surface, you hear that and you go, "Uh-oh, that's a bubble," right? Well, okay, is it or is it not? Let's not go down that road. But for the most part, just about any really reputable economists do not see a housing bubble, at least a price bubble. They do see an affordability bubble. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, but a couple stats here. Average American, this is nationwide, their home equity went up by $33,000 in the last 12 months. In New Mexico, it's $26,000. So you think about that. Every homeowner, if you just average it out in New Mexico that owned a home, and there's about 1 million homeowners in New Mexico, just if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And just shy of 2 million people, but there's about 1 million homes in New Mexico. And that's another stat I want to get to, is how many of these people are financed and how many are free and clear, because that's an interesting number.
It is an interesting number. How many people own their home outright?
Outright, yeah. Anyway, so and that's figured into this average, right? So $26,000 gain in equity, but the number of people that have like at least, I think the number was the number of people nationwide that have at least 90, or excuse me, I'm not going to say this right. There's very few people that have less than 10% equity. Very few. It's less than 10%. It's a very small number.
I could see if somebody bought in the last year FHA with 3.5% down.
Sure. Yeah.
That's where that number is.
Right.
If they bought 3 years ago FHA with 3.5% down, they have more than 10% equity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that came up when I posted this on my Facebook is, well, how many people own their homes free and clear? And I thought, well, that's a really good question.
Free and clear is the term we throw around.
Right. Means
they own it outright. They have no mortgage on it.
No mortgage. Free and clear.
They own it.
Yep. They own it. They don't owe anything to the bank on it, or the bank doesn't have a lien on it. And by the way,
so what is the number? Tell us the number.
I want to say something, because I've heard this thrown around. It's like, well, you have a mortgage, the bank owns your house. It's like, no, the bank doesn't own your house. You still own your house. It's just that you have a loan from a bank or a lender that's secured by your home. They don't own your house. You still own your house. Anyway, it's one of those little things I see people say that just don't make sense to me, and bugs me. Anyway.
Okay, so we're all waiting on the number.
I'm really in a mood today, aren't I?
Yeah, how many people are owning their house outright?
Nationwide,
free and clear.
42% of people own their home free and clear.
So when I go down the city block and I see all these houses,
4
out of 10 houses on that street, they just own it. They don't even owe a bank.
Yep.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yep.
And probably they've lived in that property a long time, or a family member lived in that property that passed
especially
it
here
along.
in New Mexico, right? We see a lot of that here.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why people build wealth through home ownership.
Right. And so, yeah, it's a pretty. Here's the stat that I was talking about. Only 7% of people have less than 10% equity in their home.
Nationwide.
Very few numbers.
Very few numbers.
Very few.
Very few.
Did I say?
Very small.
Wow.
I don't know. Too much coffee or not
enough? I think
enough?
so. It's one or the other for sure.
Yeah.
That goes to. Well, anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You had something else you wanted to share.
Yeah, I'm good. I was looking at the stats of the different types of loans that you had pulled up for us to see in front of us, where you were saying the 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, the types of loans.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go back to
the different types, VA, FHA, owner financing. The biggest by far was conventional, and that's our market. And so when we put a house, when we sell a house here in our multiple listing service, we then go in when we close it and show it. We put in the details on it, and we put in how it was sold, type of financing or cash, right?
Yeah.
And so you went back and figured out how to run those numbers. And by far, conventional loans was the biggest. And conventional is typically somebody with higher credit that might put more money down.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was FHA and VA, which were much smaller. FHA tends to be maybe a first-time buyer, 3.5% down.
Yep.
Right. VA, obviously, we really appreciate our veterans who are eligible for VA. That's a 0 down loan. And it's the best loan you can get if you're eligible, if you've done some military service and honorably discharged and qualify for it. By far, it's the best loan out there.
Just in the few minutes we have left here, I just wanted to give folks an update on this whole forbearance, foreclosure, kind of narrative that's out there, story that's been out there. Obviously, at the beginning of COVID, a bunch of people stopped paying on their mortgages. They entered into these forbearance programs, which is great. It allowed people to basically just put a pause on paying their mortgage until they could. The latest stats from May just came out, and everything's going in the right direction. The number of people that are in those forbearance plans dropped again. There was a lot of expirations on those plans in May and now June, and so we should have a better idea. One thing that did happen just this week, kind of a big headline, is the Biden administration did. It's funny, depending on which news organization you read the headline from. One of them says, Biden to end foreclosure eviction moratorium till July 30th. Another one says, Biden administration extends eviction moratorium through July 31st. So it's just pretty funny how, one news organization makes it a negative and one a positive, and you guys can probably guess which is which. But actually, the foreclosure moratorium has actually created issues with homes coming on the market, right? Those homes have not come onto the market, which has exacerbated our supply problem. So nobody likes, the idea of people getting foreclosed and kicked out of their homes and all that. But it's time to open that back up. So I hopefully maybe this is it, and this will start
July
31st.
Yeah, it looks like it's over.
It's not going to be a flood of homes, so if people are thinking that, don't hold your breath.
There you go.
There you go. Another edition talking about absolutely everything from the market to latest market trends and how it's going to impact you. As always, you can go directly to Tego and Tracy's website, welcomehomeabq.com. That's welcomehomeabq.com. And looking forward to next week's show, because we'll have all the stuff boiled down. We'll know exactly where we are in the first part of the hottest year on record for real estate. Back after a quick break, we're going to kick off the rest of the hour. Starting first with preparing that credit rescue now, and then we're going to get you qualified. We'll do that next here in the Key.